From exam paper leaks to Instagram reels, Indian politics is witnessing a new kind of disruption, one which is driven by Gen Z. What began as outrage over the NEET UG controversy has now become a larger debate about unemployment, accountability, digital mobilization and the changing language of Indian politics. Now, the BJP, the RSS, the Congress and even Prime Minister Narendra Modi are all trying to respond to a generation that is increasingly impossible to ignore. Well, it began with the familiar fear for millions of young Indians, and that was if the exams that decide your future cannot be trusted, what can? Now, that question exploded into the Cockroach Janata Party, which is a youth-led movement that mobilized students across the country over alleged NEET UG irregularities. The protests reached their peak at Delhi's Jantar Mantar, where demonstrators demanding education reforms faced police action and detention. But something major happened next. The union government accepted the demand for Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, and the protesters called off their agitation. But for many observers, that was more than a routine political development. It was an acknowledgement that a digitally connected youth movement had become too important to dismiss. Now, what makes this movement different is not just the issue, it is the language. The youth of the country are hard to ignore, as 65% of Indians are below the age of 35. India has the world's largest youth population. Memes, reels, short videos and viral hashtags are now shaping political conversations faster than press conferences. The CJP reportedly amassed nearly 15 million Instagram followers in less than a week, creating what many politicians fear most: FOMO. Well, the fear of missing out on the youth conversation. And that makes Gen Z a decisive voting bloc. Even the RSS has taken note.
हम लोगों को भी ऐसा देखना चाहिए कि अगर जेन जी चिल्ला रही है तो विरोध के लिए नहीं चिल्ला रही, कुछ तकलीफ है इसलिए चिल्ला, बिल्कुल उसको ठीक करना चाहिए.
That intervention was crucial because several BJP leaders had described the protests as being influenced by foreign-linked or anti-social elements. Well, Bhagwat's remarks shifted the conversation from law and order to listening and engagement. And the opposition has moved quickly to occupy that space. Well, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi launched an Instagram Ask Me Anything session aimed directly at Gen Z. When asked whether he was Batman, he joked, "No one has ever seen me and Batman in the same room together." He also defended the rights of students to protest. However, that was deliberate. It indicates politics designed for Instagram, not the evening rally. And that is perhaps the biggest story. Rahul Gandhi, union ministers and regional leaders are all investing heavily in social media outreach. Before Gen Z is no longer just a demographic. It is becoming a political constituency. Well, this generation is digitally fluent, highly networked, emotionally responsive to issues of jobs, exams, mental health, and economic insecurity, and increasingly willing to organize across states and platforms. Well, the larger question, however, is, will this become a sustained political force? If Gen Z begins to vote as cautiously as it now protests, it could reshape not only election campaigns, but the very tone of Indian democracy.
में सीट की खरीद बिक्री बंद करो.